Oh, we'll have to start that one over. Cut! Cut! Back to one. No, don't cut. Don't cut. You ruined his confidence.
Jeff Snyder here for TheWrap, and we are sitting down with Johnny Knoxville, the producer of the Evel Knievel documentary, Being Evil. Johnny, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, man.
So, first of all, was Evel Knievel an inspiration for you in doing the Jackass series?
Evel Knievel had such a big influence on me growing up. I grew up in the 70s, and if you grew up in the 70s, it was, Elvis Presley, Evel Knievel, Muhammad Ali, and I loved Evel. His stunts were, he had to make, although people sort of enjoyed it when he didn't make them.
Right.
And we just kind of turned that on its head. We're like, oh, let's just not make our stunts.
What do you think made Evel Knievel tick? I felt like while watching the documentary, he started out doing it to provide for his family, but then it became about the public adoration.
There's a lot of things going on with Evel. He's a very complicated person. He was such a salesman. He was one of the greatest salesmen of the 20th century. He was very creative, very sharp.
What was the most surprising thing that you learned about him over the course of making this movie?
One of my favorite things he did was when he was 19, he started a semi-pro hockey team called the Butte Bombers. Mm-hmm. He was a player coach, and during the Cold War, he convinced the Czechoslovakian national team to come to Butte and scrimmage his semi-pro bombers. He came out between the periods and said, the Czechoslovakian delegation's a little larger than we had anticipated. Can you please pass the hat around? We need to treat them right. And they did, but about the third period, Evel disappeared from the ice. And when he disappeared from the ice, that hat disappeared and all the receipts from that game disappeared. And everyone knew Evel took it, but they couldn't prove it. And we didn't put this in the doc, but the U.S. Olympic Committee had to go into Butte to help get the Czechoslovakian national team out of there and back home.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Which is, he was 19 or 20.
Do you feel like Evel was playing a part at times? Like he was just playing a character, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When he was in public, he was playing a character. He was a showman. He was a great salesman. He had more guts than 20 men, but he knew the camera was going. Sometimes he didn't care. He showed a lot of sides of himself that maybe he shouldn't have.
What was the craziest stunt, in your opinion, that Evel ever pulled off?
All the stunts he did, because each time he went out, he could possibly die. And when you're facing that every time, but Snake River was pretty much going into it just a guaranteed fail.
Do you see him as almost a real-life superhero in the sense that he had fast healing powers?
He was a superhero.
He
was a living superhero. There was fear, but he suppressed it most of the time with Wild Turkey, but he would never admit he was scared. But the people around him knew he was scared. They could tell by the look in his eyes. I would be scared too. It's like today's jumpers, few I've seen will put it at 150 feet to start, and then make that and put it at 160, and they're looking at their RPMs, and then all this math involved.
Right.
Evel just came out of his trailer, took a shot of Wild Turkey, and said, "You got to feel it." And there was no looking at the speedometer. He had a guy standing next to the ramp, and if he thought Evel was going fast enough, he'd give him a thumbs up, and if not, he'd say, "Hold back." But they were just doing it by hearing, listening.
I laughed out loud when the guy
nuts.
says it was guesswork.
Yeah, guesswork. I guess you could say it was guesswork.
You can check out Being Evil on August 21st. Thank you so much for coming in, Johnny. Really appreciate it.
I thought you killed it the fourth time.